Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I am back with another video. This time we're looking at something a little bit different, and this might be a little, it's a little bit of kind of a totally different subject for this channel, which has primarily been focused on board games and such. Today, what I wanted to talk about was this new service that's coming from Games Workshop called Warhammer Plus. More Warhammer, more often. So I've alluded to this in some of my other videos and touched on it a little bit, but I am kind of a huge fan of Warhammer 40,000 and 30,000 lore. I don't play the game. I've never played the game. I don't think I ever will play the game. You know, I've dabbled with the PC games, like who hasn't? But I just got into the audiobooks a couple years ago. I had started watching some lore videos on YouTube and found it really interesting. And that led me to the Black Library and particularly the Horus Heresy series of books. And I had an Audible account at the time, and I was mostly listening to some fantasy stuff and Stephen King. I like a lot of Stephen King. And I just decided to give the first book in the Horus Heresy, which is called Horus Rising. Just decided to give it a shot one day. And boy, oh boy, did I make a mistake there, because now I have, I don't know, 60 Warhammer books in Audible. Like, I just kind of have been going crazy and listening to as much of that stuff as I can. I just love it. I love the grimdark setting. I love the characters. And it's just like space opera. It's like that Star Wars space opera thing just dialed up 1,000-fold. Like it's hard to actually go back and like give a crap about the stakes in something like Star Wars after you've seen entire planets just utterly eradicated by the good guys. Good guys, right? Or, a species like the Tyranid just like wiping out whole solar systems, basically. And just consuming everything and just adding it to their disgusting biomass. And so I love Warhammer lore and content, and I've watched a lot of the content that's available on YouTube. Stuff like Astartes is a video series like a fan-made video series that's on YouTube. Hell's Reach is another really good fan-made kind of an adaptation of one of the books, which is also called Hell's Reach, like a dramatization kind of. And so when I heard that Games Workshop was planning on launching their own kind of streaming service that was going to be primarily made up of like brand new like animated CGI and like traditionally animated video content for Warhammer, basically storylines and new characters and such. I was really excited. And they finally kind of came out and announced exactly what's coming, when it's coming, and what you get with it. And so I thought I'd cover it on the channel. So here we are on the Warhammer community page. And you can see here, this is all about Warhammer Plus, basically. So, blah, blah, blah. In short, let's get right to it. With a Warhammer Plus subscription, you're going to get the Warhammer animation, weekly in-house Warhammer hobby shows. This is interesting to me too, beyond just the animation, which was kind of how they originally pitched it, was that it was like an animation channel. But they've built it out quite a bit here, it looks like. this is interesting. This is stuff like painting shows or and tutorials or like like gameplay of 40K or Age of Sigmar. But it's all going to be kind of a step up, I think, from a lot of the YouTube content, at least, because it's all going to be assumingly like professionally kind of shot and produced. So this has some interest to me. A digital vault of classic Warhammer publications in White Dwarf issues. This is really cool too. So this is back issues of White Dwarf or prior versions of like the codices for Warhammer, which is where a lot of the lore and rules for the various editions of 40K exist. So, you might go out and get the 8th edition Blood Angels Codex so that you can catch up on where they're at in the storyline and what their ability set was and stuff in Warhammer. And so it's really cool to be able to get access to this stuff easily, and White Dwarf is really good too. I've never gone to the level of buying a subscription, but I bought individual issues if they're focusing on something that I'm particularly interested in, or sometimes they package it with like add-ons for games and such. And but being able to just go back and read a bunch of White Dwarf issues is pretty cool. You also get full access to the Warhammer apps. So that's like your gameplay app for 40K and Age of Sigmar, where you can like build your armies and stuff. This doesn't really have any value for me. Premium access to our official events. Exclusive subscriber offers. Depends on what they are. This is really cool and something that I wasn't aware was coming. A free exclusive Citadel miniature worth at least £25 every year. And so we're going to drill down into the detail, and I'll show you what that miniature looks like. And then you can also, so they have 2 different miniatures that you can select from, and for subscribers they give you the option to buy the other miniature if you just get the one. So what does all this cost? Basically $6 a month USD, $4.99 pounds a month. I don't know if I said that right. I don't really care. I live in the US. So very reasonable, $60 a year. If they put enough, if they're really cranking out the animation, which I think is a very real concern, because Games Workshop, especially in the last couple of years, kind of gotten a pretty bad rep in terms of like being able to even like basically stock their games. Warhammer Quest Cursed City famously kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, and they kill their boxed games just like it's nothing, and it's just like Blackstone Fortress is just dead now, and forevermore will it be dead. It goes out of print, and they don't make any effort to try to put this stuff back out. And like Indomitus was delayed and really hard to get, and the new Age of Sigmar box set is the same way, and they do kind of shady things with selling it on their website versus sending it to stores. And so there's a reason to be concerned about their ability to push out enough content to make this truly worth it. But from my perspective, especially if they get a lot of the other stuff out there, like the hobby shows and the digital vault, and they keep building this out. Like something else that jumps out at me as being really obvious is like there's a Warhammer 40K comic book currently running with Marvel. Maybe they throw that in here and make that accessible to people. They could do some things to make it attractive, but you do have to factor that in, that they may not be able to get this stuff out fast enough. This may be better as a subscription service in like 2023 when they have a backlog of stuff that they've built up. So moving on, one of the big draws for this, I think, for a lot of people in the hobby at least, is going to be the exclusive miniature. And they're pretty awesome looking. So you basically get your choice of a 40K or a 30K miniature. And what you've got here is this guy. I think he is called Vindicare Assassin. And you can see he's kind of perched up on an old, decrepit kind of, looks like maybe an Adeptus Sororitas statue, or maybe like a saint, one of the 40K saints. And again, I'm throwing out all these crazy terms. Kind of doesn't, you don't need to know what that is. But anyways, he's up on this cool statue firing down with a pretty bitchin' looking sniper rifle. And then you've got this huge, awesome orc. You can tell the base is quite large. The figure is quite large because from what I understand, what he's holding in his hand here is a Stormcast Eternal head. And a Stormcast Eternal is like its own miniature. So he's got a miniature's head in the palm of his hand, which means the rest of the figure must be pretty big. So these are really cool miniatures, and they're saying that they're exclusive. Who knows if they'll stay exclusive? They also say that you'll keep getting new miniatures every year. And, you know, Games Workshop miniatures are not cheap. Like, even like one guy like this, $35, $40, I don't even know, you know, depending on how big it is. This could be a considerable value. And so it may well be worth it, the $60 a year, just to get this miniature. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who will subscribe, especially if you're in the Warhammer ecosystem. If you're playing 40K and you need the app anyways, and it's bundled into this, because the app is not free, you pay for the app right now. That adds value and makes this kind of an easier and easier decision, which is why they're doing that. So, yeah. And then the animation that's coming, man, just looks incredible. So this series, or the service, is going to launch with two parts of two series. The first being Angels of Death, which is this really awesome looking kind of CGI animated show about the Blood Angels. And so this is like a serialized like TV show. It's like a continuing story. And then you have Hammer and Bolter, which is a kind of an anthology show for Warhammer products in general. So there'll be episodes about the 40K universe, the 30K universe, Age of Sigmar, and they're kind of like their own, you know, individual storylines. But this was the initial pitch from them, and I was kind of already sold just on this. So then they get into kind of the exclusive shows that they're going to have on order, or on display. So they've got a painting show called Citadel Color Masterclass, which is going to dig into more kind of advanced painting techniques. Citadel, one of the things that they do really well, and I'm not an expert on this, I don't have a really clear sense of the relationship between Citadel and Games Workshop, if they're like a subsidiary or a secondary kind of company or whatever, but they do a really good job of creating paint videos just on YouTube. And so this is just probably going to be like a longer form, deeper dive into very specific techniques and such. And they call out here that all the standard videos will still be out there on YouTube and whatnot. Then they've got another program, which I don't think they didn't. I would have called this out if I was them, like as a separate bullet. They've got this series called Warhammer Lore Masters coming. So I love lore videos on the 40K and 30K universe on YouTube. I watch a fair bit of it. Couple shout outs. There's a channel called Wolflord Rowe. He does really great stuff. There's a channel called Luton09, I think it's called. He does incredible stuff. So, and really deep dives. Like if you want to watch 3 hours of explanation of exactly who the Emperor of Mankind is and where he comes from and everything, you're looking for Luton's video on that. You know, he's got a 3-part series, I think, actually. So, but this again is going to take it kind of possibly, depending on you know, it would be really easy for Games Workshop to kind of fumble this. And again, I don't know that it would be out of character for them to fumble this, in the sense that if they're putting these videos out and it's a 3-minute long vignette about, ooh, Lorgar is the Primarch of the Wordbearer, you know, or whatever, it's going to fall flat on its face. What they should be doing is making like a damn near feature-length film about each topic. That's what I would be interested in seeing. Like an hour-long deep dive into a particular character or timeline or race or faction or something like that. And so this is another one of those unknowns, but it has a lot of potential to be really cool, because again, you get that production value of a professional, you know, company behind it, and you get, and if they start revealing, you know, kind of some of the secrets and kind of mysteries about these various universes, it could be really cool. So a lot of potential in this one. And then you've got your battle reports, which are going to be narrative play battles on camera, basically, with really high quality, you know, armies and painting, and and just like, you have to imagine, like, these are the guys, they have all of this stuff, right? And they can get as much of it as they want. So you have to imagine that the scale of some of these battles is just going to be insane. I heard a guy on one of their live streams say that he wants to do the first video he wants to do is on the Siege of Terra, which is like the biggest battle in the Horus Heresy, and would be like literally thousands of units, so tens of thousands of units. I don't know, depending on how they capture it. So that would be really interesting. So some interesting kind of content beyond video content, beyond just the animations coming. You get the apps. Like I said, you know already if this is of value to you or not. If it's not, then it's not. I'm not going to download this just because it's free, because it won't do anything for me. And I just don't think I just don't have the bandwidth to get into 40K. I barely have the bandwidth to keep up with the lore and to listen to my endless pile of audiobooks, much less to play the game. But it is cool that they're including it in there. And they're giving a little bonus if you are already subscribed for the app. You get your model earlier than everyone else, because that's one thing that should be noted, is the free miniature doesn't come until your first year as a subscriber has passed. So you subscribe for a year, either for the full year subscription or monthly, and you get your free model at the end of it. And then here they call out, if you're an additional subscriber, you get an additional free gift too. I don't know what that is. And then we get into Warhammer Vault. This is another place where, again, it would be really easy for them to screw this up, but I really hope they don't. They need to blast this stuff out, because this is a really easy way to pacify people and get content into people's hands while they're trying to film these, you know, live streams and videos and stuff. So they better bring it with this, because this is all just old stuff. You just scan it, digitally scan it or something. I don't know how that works. And get it out there so that people can read up kind of to the current timeline and see what happened in the past, and read about the specific kind of factions and such. So hopefully they really rip this stuff out. And then White Dwarf as well. And this is a significant value too. White Dwarf's not cheap. I don't say it's like, I don't know, it's like $10, I think, maybe, for an issue. I might be wrong. And this is, initially they're launching with the entire back catalog from 2020. So, you know, that's 12 issues, and you have to imagine that they'll keep going, you know, probably putting out back further into the backlog, or maybe start putting them out, you know, like a month or two after they come out at retail. I don't know, but this is cool too, because White Dwarf is pretty cool. There's a lot of cool content in there, and I look forward to checking that out. I don't know what this is in terms of event extras. It's something about being a VIP if you go to like a Warhammer, like tournament or something like that. And then just again, they're just capturing kind of everything that you get with the Warhammer Plus subscription. And it launches on the 25th of August. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if people will find this interesting. I think it's really interesting. I really do recommend at the very least, the Horus Heresy book series. If you're just looking for something like really hard sci-fi, like dark, dark sci-fi, like, and you just want to just bathe in just depictions of gack and gore and the most hideous kind of abominations you can ever imagine. This would be right up your alley, because it is a brutal, scary, awesome universe, and the books in particular seem to really draw that out. And so I'm hoping that the animation will as well. So that's all I had about Warhammer Plus. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in this, if this sounds like something that might appeal to you. I'm just interested to see if anybody out there is even remotely interested in this Warhammer stuff. Because like I said, I've mentioned it a few times, and I've toyed with the idea of doing like a book review series or something like that on the Horus Heresy. But I don't know that I know the books quite that well, and this is one of those things where, man, there's always somebody out there who knows 100 times more than you do about it, because there's somebody, this is their whole like life, this is what they do, is study lore for Warhammer. And I'm never going to be that guy, but I have my X-Men series, Who Dis, and that's not, I don't deliver that from a kind of expert's position either. So maybe I will think about making some more kind of Warhammer lore review content. Let me know in the comments if you think that'd be interesting. Anyways, that's all that I have for now. Hope you found this interesting, and I will talk to you later.